Shadows on the Sundial. The quiet village rested between two green hills, with cobblestone streets winding between quaint houses. At its center stood a grand square where children played, merchants sold their wares, and villagers gathered to chat. The pride of the square was an ancient sundial, a relic from a time long ago. Lena, a young girl with a curious mind, often found herself intrigued by the sundial. Unlike others who saw it merely as a marker of time, to her, it held secrets. As the sun moved across the sky, the sundial's shadow shifted, and Lena noticed that sometimes the shadow would linger or even move contrary to the sun's position. Most dismissed her observations, attributing them to her vivid imagination. One day, as Lena was studying the sundial, she noticed a peculiar shadow that didn't belong to any figure in the square. It seemed to be a shadow of a tall man, standing still, but there was no one near the sundial. The shadow remained motionless, its outline sharp against the sunlit surface of the dial. Feeling a mix of intrigue and fear, she approached the shadow. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew through the square, and the shadow moved, now pointing towards the village's oldest house. Lena, driven by her adventurous spirit, decided to follow where it led. The house, long believed to be abandoned, was surrounded by tales of its past inhabitants and rumors of hidden treasures. Inside the dimly lit house, Lena's eyes adjusted to the darkness, revealing a room filled with artifacts, old books, and paintings. In the center stood a tall, ornate clock, its hands frozen in time. As she approached the clock, she heard whispers, faint and distant, recounting tales of the village's history and past events. Lena soon realized that the shadows on the sundial were not mere figments of her imagination. They were echoes of the past, and this house held the key to understanding them. The clock, she believed, was a portal to the village's history. For days, Lena visited the house, listening to the whispers and piecing together the stories of her ancestors. She learned of love, betrayal, heroism, and loss. But she also discovered something else, the importance of remembering the past and learning from it. One day, as Lena was engrossed in a particularly fascinating tale, the village's oldest resident, Mrs. Elder, entered the room. Lena, surprised, listened as Mrs. Elder recounted her own memories, adding depth to the stories the shadows told. The village, once indifferent to the sundial's mysteries, began to cherish its significance. Lena's discovery had bridged the gap between the past and the present, helping the villagers appreciate their heritage. As time passed, the sundial's shadows continued their dance, with Lena and other curious souls taking a moment to listen, ensuring that the tales of the past would never be forgotten. Dreams draped in dawn's dew. In a village where houses shimmered with golden rooftops and gardens that bloomed year-round, mornings had a special magic. As dawn broke, a delicate dew would settle, and for a brief moment, everything it touched would sparkle with a unique brilliance. Among the village's residents was Ilara, a young girl with a penchant for wandering. Every morning, just before sunrise, she'd slip into her shoes and step out to feel the cool dew under her feet. But this dew wasn't just water, it held within it dreams. Dreams of the villagers, dreams of the creatures of the night, and sometimes, dreams that felt as old as time itself. One particular morning, as Ilara was tracing her fingers on the dew-laden leaves, she felt a peculiar tingle. Pulling her hand back in surprise, she noticed a small, radiant droplet that wasn't sliding off the leaf. Curiously, she touched it once more, and instantly, her surroundings changed. She found herself in a vast meadow, surrounded by creatures she had never seen. Gentle beings that glowed, floating flowers that hummed soft tunes, and skies painted in hues she had never imagined. She was in a dream. But whose? Ilara spent what felt like hours, maybe days, wandering, meeting dream beings, and experiencing wonders. There were moments of pure joy, moments of introspection, and moments that were indescribable. But as the dream's magic reached its peak, a soft voice whispered, "Remember, all dreams have an end." And just as suddenly as it began, Ilara found herself back in her village, with the sun just beginning to rise. The radiant droplet. Now just a regular dewdrop sliding off the leaf. Ilara, with the memory of the dream fresh in her mind, felt an overwhelming urge to sketch. She grabbed paper and began to draw the glowing creatures, the humming flowers, the dreamy skies. As she drew, villagers gathered around, marveling at her creations. Word spread, and soon, people from neighboring villages arrived, wanting to see Ilara's drawings. And as they looked, many felt a familiar tug, a memory, a hint of a dream they once had. The dreamy dew of dawn became the village's treasured secret. And Ilara, once just a curious wanderer, became the village's dream weaver, translating dreams into art and sharing them with all. And while the dreams lasted only until the sun's first rays, their essence, captured by Ilara, remained, reminding everyone of the wonders that existed, just a touch away. The symphony of silent sighs. Amidst the bustling streets of a city filled with life, there existed a peculiar alley. This alley was different not because of the cobblestone path or the old lanterns that hung from walls, but because of its rare tranquility. Here, the noise of the city seemed to vanish, replaced by an orchestra of emotions. Ella, a woman in her late 20s, discovered this alley by chance. Overwhelmed by her daily routine and the cacophony of urban life, she found solace here. Every evening, after her demanding job at the local newspaper, she would sit on a worn-out bench in the alley and lose herself in her thoughts. Each time she visited, she noticed that she wasn't alone. There were others, like her, seeking a momentary escape. An old man with a weathered face, a young artist with paint stains on his clothes, a mother with a restless child, and many more. Each one had their own story, their own reasons to be in the alley. One evening, as Ella sat immersed in her thoughts, she felt a gentle tap on her shoulder. It was the young artist, holding out a sketchbook. On its pages, he had drawn the various visitors of the alley, capturing not just their faces but their emotions. Each drawing was paired with a brief note, a snippet of their story. "I've been observing and sketching people here for weeks," he whispered. "This alley, it's like a silent symphony. Everyone comes here with their worries, their dreams, their hopes, and their sighs. These silent sighs, they are louder than words. They are music. Ella was captivated. She spent the evening with the artist, flipping through the pages of the sketchbook, getting to know the stories of the people she had seen so many times but never truly known. Inspired, she decided to write about the alley in her newspaper. The next week, her article titled "An Orchestra of Emotions in an Unlikely Place" was published. The response was overwhelming. Readers from all over the city visited the alley, not just to seek solace but to become a part of the symphony. Lanterns in the luminous lagoon. Far beyond the reach of bustling cities and quiet villages, hidden amidst thick forests and tall mountains, lay a serene body of water. Many referred to this body of water as the luminous lagoon, and it wasn't just a mere pond or lake, it was an ethereal spectacle. Every night, as the sun sank below the horizon and the world was cloaked in darkness, the lagoon would begin to shimmer and glow. Bright blues, radiant purples, and fluorescent greens danced on the water's surface. This breathtaking phenomenon wasn't due to any man-made sources but was the magic of nature itself. Tiny organisms in the water emitted a bioluminescent glow when disturbed, making the lagoon a canvas of light. Marina, a curious teenager from a neighboring town, had heard tales of the lagoon but had never seen it with her own eyes. Legends said that the lagoon had magical properties and that the light was a manifestation of the memories and feelings of the world. One summer evening, with a backpack and a lantern in hand, Marina set out on an expedition to witness this natural marvel. Her journey through the forest was an adventure in itself. With each step, she could hear the whispers of the wind, the chirping of the crickets, and the rustling of the leaves. When she finally reached the lagoon, she was left awestruck. The sight was even more mesmerizing than the stories she'd heard. With wide eyes, she observed the myriad of colors dancing on the water. However, what caught her attention the most was a series of lanterns floating gracefully on the lagoon surface. Each lantern glowed with a unique hue, and they moved harmoniously, casting reflections on the water. Drawn to their beauty, Marina decided to row a small boat she found nearby to get a closer look. As she approached a lantern, she realized that within each was a delicate paper with writings. Carefully picking one up, she began to read. It was a letter, a memory penned down by someone, released into the lagoon to become a part of the luminous tapestry. Moved by the heartfelt words, Marina decided to pen down her own feelings and memories, placing them inside her lantern before releasing it onto the water. The night turned into a mosaic of emotions and lights. Marina felt connected to the universe in a way she never had before. It wasn't just about the beauty of the lagoon or the lanterns, it was about the shared human experience, the collective memory, and the realization that emotions were the true luminance of life. As dawn approached and the glow of the lagoon began to fade, Marina rowed back to the shore, her heart filled with gratitude and wonder. She left the lagoon that day, but the memories of that magical night stayed with her, reminding her that beauty and magic could be found in the most unexpected places. The alley became a sanctuary for many. Musicians started playing their instruments, poets recited their verses, and artists showcased their work. But amidst all the newfound noise, the silent sighs continued, weaving together a tapestry of emotions. And so, in the heart of a bustling city, the alley remained a testament to the power of silence, to the music that played in the pauses, and to the symphony that echoed in the quietest of sighs.